What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only. It's Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, I've got some burnt out eyes. I was up real late last night playing games as usual, but actually, you came around and I saw Rainbow Six. Well, how about another?
It's always that. Let's play one more round. No, I should have won to bed. Yeah, it was always a good time. More Siege. Yeah, I'm Dude, I gotta be close on that 1,000-hour mark now, I think, at this point.
Holy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I've been playing that one for a while, but what everybody should be checking out and playing is ITG Daily, where you can join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, or over on YouTube at Inside the Game Official. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, we got a good one. Aloy joins the world of VR. And more details from PlayStation about the PlayStation VR2 at CES. Ghost of Tsushima sells millions, and Samsung joins the game's streaming services. Yep, they're in too. No big surprise. Okay. That's an interesting one. I'm looking forward to getting into that topic. But first, let's get started because Horizon, Call of the Mountain from Guerrilla, and Fire Sprite. You may recognize that name, Scott, because recently PlayStation purchased that studio. Fire Sprite brought them in for VR specific titles. This is the 17th studio that PlayStation now owns. This comes over from the PlayStation blog. It was my pleasure to start off 2022. Oh, sorry, this comes from Hideki Nishino. He's the Senior Vice President in Platform Experience. That comes from the PlayStation blog. It is my great pleasure to start off 2022 with news on our next generation virtual reality system for the PlayStation 5 console, starting with the official name, PlayStation VR2, and our new VR controller, PlayStation VR2 Sense controller. Scott, are you shocked by that news at all?
Well, I wish it was called the PlayStation VR Pro, because I think that's kind of how it goes with their nomenclature.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get very creative for that one, but
no, they didn't.
It is exciting to see this company has, experience in that field. And there's a couple things we've talked about VR1, PSVR1 that is, that kind of lacked in certain regards. So
absolutely. This was definitely taking things to the next level. PlayStation VR2 takes VR gaming to a whole new level, enabling a greater sense of presence and allowing players to escape into game worlds like never before. Dude, I did not read ahead to catch that next level stuff. With the headset on and controllers in hand, players will feel a heightened range of sensations unlike any other, thanks to the creativity of the game worlds being built by our world-class developers and the latest technology incorporated into the hardware. Building upon our innovation from PS5, PlayStation VR2 adds a true next-gen experience with high-fidelity visuals, new sensory features, and enhanced tracking, all with a simplified single-cord setup. That, I think, is a huge bonus. Dude, I remember connecting the original PSVR, and it went from a box to like 3 cables to another 4 cables at the back, and it was just like a spaghetti.
I let Nate set that up in my house because I had no idea what I was doing, but it looked like a Kinect, but much harder to get
yeah, absolutely. Visual fidelity. For a high fidelity visual experience, PSVR2 offers, ready for this? 4K HDR, 110 degree field of view, avoided rendering with an OLED OLED display, Scott, for resolution of 2000 by 2040 per eye and smooth frame rates of 90 to 120 hertz. Dude, this is gonna take.
That sounds like it's quite the premier piece of hardware there. I think I had that thought yesterday because we'll get to that topic shortly, I believe. But I thought, how good are they going to cram the resolution into something that small?
Oh,
are they going to put 8K before my eyes? Is that possible?
Not quite, just 4 for now.
It doesn't seem like it's not too far-fetched, though.
Nope. Head-based controller tracking. With inside-out tracking, PSVR2 tracks you and your controller through integrated cameras embedded in the VR headset. Your movements and the direction you look are reflected in-game without the need for an external camera. That, dude, was one of my questions yesterday from the show as we were talking about how this PSVR 2 is now gone into production. And I was curious to see, because the PSVR original did require you to use the camera. Does the next one require it? Does not require it, which is very, very cool.
That was an old, outdated camera, wasn't it? That was the PlayStation Eye from a decade prior, was it?
No, it was not.
I'm getting confused with the Move controls.
Yes, dude. So when there's the PlayStation Eye launched with the Move controllers back in the day. Okay. So what happened was when they brought over PS4, they launched a new camera, 1080p, but they kept VR with the Move controllers because a lot of people already had them. So it was a one less barrier to kind of break down. Or you can get the whole setup as a package deal, right? If you didn't have
quite the opposite from the Nintendo approach, which is you need a new controller for everyone twice over every year.
Yeah, absolutely. New sensory features. PSVR2 Sense technology combines eye tracking, headset feedback, 3D audio, and the innovative PSVR2 Sense controller to create an incredibly deep feeling of immersion. Headset feedback, Scott, here it is, dude. It is there. Yeah. It's a new sensory feature that amplifies the sensation of in-game actions from the player. It's created by a single built-in motor with vibrations that adds an intelligent tactical element, bringing players closer to the gameplay experience. What do you think of your head rumbling, Scott?
I thought of two scenarios. One that works really well, which, imagine you're creeping around, you're Spider-Man, and you get the Spidey sense. That could work really well. Or, a Metal Gear where it bling and you feel it. That could be really cool. But on the other hand, if I'm playing a shooter, I don't want my camera just to vibrate on my face.
No.
That might be visually annoying.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, how much of a shake do we get into on your head? Like, all of a sudden your head starts buzzing. Like, oh my goodness, man! I don't know.
Yeah, how strong is it? Am I?
Absolutely. Eye tracking. With eye tracking, PSVR2 detects the motion of your eyes. So a simple look in a specific direction can create an additional input for the game character. This allows players to interact with more intuitive in new ways, lifelike ways, allowing for a heightened emotional response and enhanced expression that provide a new level of realism in gaming. All of these advancements in PSVR2 combined with the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers from the PlayStation VR2 Sense controller enables players to feel and interact with games in a much more visceral way. PSVR2 will... So the biggest thing, dude, still no actual official release date.
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking at the picture of the Sense controller now, and I'm thinking
it's cool.
Kind of interesting that they took the normal thumbsticks inside and put them on the outside. That's a small thing, but controllers for PlayStation was my biggest barrier.
Oh man, that didn't bother me at all. I didn't mind where they were. I know a lot of people, especially Xbox fans, like the offset analog sticks. Dude, just give me a controller, I'll play.
Silly. I went from N64, which who designed that? I went to the GameCube.
Right?
Who was that designed for? And so you'd think I would have no problem adapting, but
yeah. So we do have some actual specs on the PSVR 2 headset, Scott. So as we touched on, it's the OLED display model. Resolution is 2000 by 2040. Refresh rate is 90 and 120 hertz. Lens separation is completely adjustable. Field of view 110 degrees, which is awesome for. And then the sensors has a motion sensor, 6-axis motion sensing system, 3-axis gyroscope, 3-axis accelerometer, attachment sensors, IR proximity sensors, 4 cameras tracked within the headset themselves, vibration on the headset, a USB Type-C connection, and input, built-in microphone, output stereo head jack as well. So there's a couple things, but Scott, they weren't done there, because when they wrapped it all up, they announced, are you ready? Today, we are pleased to reveal that one of the biggest exclusive franchises on PlayStation will be coming to PSVR 2. Horizon Call of the Mountain from Guerrilla and Firesprite. The original game is being built specifically for PSVR 2 and will open the doors for players to go deeper into the world of Horizon. Dude, we saw like very, very little gameplay. What you are seeing now is all we saw.
But look at the detail. This is what caught me. The detail coming up. This exact part right here is just insane to me.
Looking up at the tall necks
through VR is just going to be Yeah, and all the things we've seen about Forbidden West so far just tell
Yep.
me that the scope of the creatures are really big. It's not quite Shadow of the Colossus in VR, but
Oh
it is about
man.
as close as we're gonna get for a while.
I think so. Yeah, I think you raised a good point there that, Shadow Colossus was just a mind-blowing game at the time, and these massive giants we experience. But to get this sort of feeling in with VR and Horizon, a character we already know and love from Horizon Zero Dawn, now getting a sequel and then getting a VR experience. Now, I say experience because we don't know how long. Is it just 2 hour experience? We're going to run around the world of, Horizon for a little bit, or are we going to get into a full-fledged game? Is this 12 hours long, Scott?
Oh, that's a huge scope, though. I'm thinking, Half-Life Alyx was a massive project. So
absolutely,
this to be announced and shown, how far away does that put it? And that might kind of give us some hint, actually.
Yeah, like I'm curious, my biggest thing is how long do you make these games, right? If we're getting now into PSVR2 technology and getting a better refresh rate, getting better fidelity within the game, and all these advancements from the PSVR 1 into the sequel, are we going to be able to withstand some of the gameplay? Like if you're using analog sticks, if you haven't played VR before, man, the minute you step forward, like your whole body has this outer body experience. You're like, whoa, that feels weird, right? But the more you play, I hear it's supposed to help, but it hasn't helped me, and I've been playing VR for years. So
thumbsticks are I think my preferred, because the teleporting kind of thing.
I like the teleporting.
Jostles me a little too much.
It doesn't. That's where it gets me, or I can feel that. Okay, bounce over, and I'm okay. But the minute I step, that's where I lose it. But you're okay that way, are you?
Yeah, the one that bothered me was this one, the running man. I didn't like that one so much. That just had too much of a disconnect between my motion and the feet in game, so it seemed a little weird. But I'm thinking, Horizon, do you think they're going to have you climb the long neck?
I hope so. Dude, you have to. That'd be so cool, right? I think that one of the staples, I think, within the game is unlocking the map. And the way you do that is to climb the tall necks, right? You climb up, a bit of a mini puzzle, really, not too much. You just kind of hit the highlighted yellow spots. And I wonder if they changed that up moving into Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, but what if it's got it's like the climb where you're, this could be good, man. This could be really good.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there, but that's very cool. Dude, let's get into another one of my favorite games. Ghost of Tsushima has sold 8 million copies. This comes from Jeff Grubb over at GamesBeat. Ghost of Tsushima is one of Sony's biggest new properties. It was a global smash hit on PlayStation 4, and it got a boost when Sony released a director's version that also included updates for PS5. During a presentation at part of CES 2022 in Las Vegas, Sony confirmed that the game has sold more than 8 million copies in total. The company confirmed that the number as part of a segment about its upcoming PlayStation Studios film, The Television Projects. Sony plans to turn Ghost of Tsushima into a movie to capitalize on the success of the game. Ghost of Tsushima success is huge for a new IP, even from one of the biggest publishers in the world. Splatoon, a new Nintendo property that launched on the Wii U, rest in peace, in 2015, sold 5 million copies. Its sequel went on to sell nearly 13 million copies. Scott, keep that in the back of your mind.
I have to testify for that. Splatoon 2 was a huge step above Splatoon 1, which was also really good, though.
Yeah, that's fair. I was surprised to see him use Splatoon as a reference, but it was interesting to see because I wasn't too familiar with the numbers there, where if you compare, I always go back to, just because it's such a leap with Assassin's Creed, right? From 1 to 2. But I wonder what the numbers were as well. Dude, continuing on. So here's the thing. Ghost of Tsushima, fantastic game. I'm waiting for the day it comes to PC. I'm surprised it's not already, right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to come to World of PC. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about that as of yet. But I would expect it to be there. They're already working on a sequel. Jin will be back. There's definitely room for a lot of growth. I wonder if they'll turn this into a trilogy or an ongoing series, like what they're going to do here. But they're already bringing it over into the world of film. And that's a huge stepping stone as well. Yeah.
Well, we've seen how that works out for the better. You know, the Resident Evil
Sometimes.
ones are kind of hit and miss, but there's The Witcher is the most recent example you can point to. Everybody's
Oh
happy with
man.
that. So,
Oh,
you know,
season 2 is
there's
great.
always room for failure, but here's hoping.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is a great medium to pick up.
Absolutely. And moving on to other mediums, Samsung announces a gaming hub. It's a discovery platform, cloud games on smart TVs. This comes from Dean over at GameSpeed as well. Samsung Electronics has unveiled the Samsung Gaming Hub as a new way to play and discover cloud-based games on Samsung smart TVs. The hub will launch later this year with games from partners including NVIDIA GeForce Now, Google Stadia, and Aloy. Dude, is that how you... The South Korean tech giant unveiled the details at the CES 2022 trade show in Las Vegas. Discovery has been a problem for game developers making games for app stores that have millions of apps available on them. But it's also an interesting recognition that Samsung wants to court gamers as a key market now that gaming has soared into the mainstream. Well, man, like video games have been important for a lot of us for so long, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think we've been ringing that bell for a decade now, and
absolutely.
It's gone on longer than that. But it's good on them to notice that there's something there. But I wonder, you know, don't those smart TVs have like 1 gig of RAM?
Well, so here's the thing. It's powered by Samsung's Tizen software. The Samsung Gaming Hub is a new game streaming discovery platform that bridges hardware and software to provide gamers on select 2022 TV models coming from Samsung. Quote, our Samsung smart TVs provide the ultimate experience destinations for everyone across generations, interests, and viewing preferences, end quote, said Wan Jin Lee, corporate president at Samsung Electronics. Quote, we know that gaming continues to increase in popularity for our customers, and we have bridged the gap between our smart TV leadership and advanced gaming software to create an easier way for people to enjoy the games they love faster. We developed the Samsung Gaming Hub with our incredible content partners to benefit all gamers, and we plan to continue our collaboration to grow the ecosystem, end quote. The hub also gives players easy access to YouTube gaming so that you can follow your favorite streamers like us over on ITG. Make sure you swing by there. But dude, the biggest thing is they're getting in the world. They're partnering with GeForce Now, right? They're partnering with Stadia, something I honestly don't hear a lot of anymore. It's all about GeForce Now technology going on. And this other company as well, Aloy, like I've never heard of them. So it's curious to see what they're going to bring to the table. But if they're partnering with streaming companies, where is xCloud?
Yeah, they've been very quiet, very dormant since, well, their real push to get on mobile devices, and that makes perfect sense. But that was maybe a year or two ago, and not much has come out of that.
I think there would be an opportunity here because Samsung has partnered with Xbox for years now. So you would think that they would partner up as well, bringing them into the fold here. But now you just go to one hub and your system's connected to the TV and away you go. You're good to go. Like I'm curious to see how the smart TV gaming hub is going to work for Samsung. Definitely an interesting move to compile everybody in one place. Dude, it's that one central gaming location, right? We've all talked about it for years. Forget the console wars. Let's just have one platform. Samsung seems to be bringing that to the table. Thoughts, Scott? Thoughts on that?
The one platform to end the console wars was supposed to be Soldier Boys, but that didn't happen, unfortunately, and the console wars keep burning.
No, absolutely. Lee
I
joins
think this
us.
could be another parallel. This is something that Stadia has initiated, and for them to bring cloud gaming to the forefront, well, we're seeing the competition spike up, and maybe that is positive. If they have an enemy to kind of work against, maybe that's what'll push it further.
Maybe, right? Lee over at YouTube joins us here and says, I'm curious how much Samsung will jack up their TV prices for that cloud gaming feature. I bet it won't be cheap. I'll stick with my consoles, laugh out loud. Absolutely.
Well, that's a very fair point. That's something I looked at for smart TVs in general. I tried to get the same version, but without the smart TV aspect of it, because it was $100 cheaper.
Well, that's just it. And if you get it GeForce Now, dude, I saw the other day, 6 months is $100.
Holy.
So to get a full year GeForce Now is $200? I'm like, really?
Ooh.
Man, that's not cheap.
that competes with Xbox Cloud and Game Pass, and well, for that dollar, it's hard to
think about it. Yeah, they're right there at the end of the day. They're probably comparable to everybody else. They don't want to overprice themselves. And GeForce Now just seems to be scaling and ramping up even further. So I think it's a good partner for Samsung. But I think Lee has a good point. Does that increase the price of TVs? Samsung's TVs are already one of the top of the line, along there with Logitech, LG. And they're up there. So for quality for gamers, the TVs are incredible. And they only get better. But they've also started dropping in prices too, Scott.
I'm surprised Sony hasn't done something very similar to this, being that they have a whole in-house development for television and everything.
Oh, that's fair. No, absolutely. Speaking of Sony, 6 more PlayStation Now games are coming in January. PlayStation Now announced more games, 6 new titles: Mortal Kombat 11, Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, Fury Unleashed, Unturned, Super Time Force Ultra, and Kerbal Space Program Enhanced Edition.
Super Time Force is really cool. That's the one that I'm kind of loosely familiar with. I've seen it played a long time ago, and it's got a very unique, interesting idea.
Scott, let's move on to the world of Xbox now, as Halo Infinite lead narrative designer leaves 343 and joins Riot Games. Aaron Lind is leaving the Microsoft studio following Infinite's launch in December. This comes from Eddie McCouch over at GameSpot. Halo Infinite's lead narrative designer, Aaron Lind, has announced he has left 343 Industries. Lind said on Twitter that he is leaving to, quote, pursue a new opportunity, end quote. One that we now know is a job at League of Legends developer Riot Games. Lind is joining the R&D team at Riot. Dude, that's a big success. Like, how do you top that?
Yeah, and I really just hope it's under positive circumstances. I don't know if there's any details that's been spoken about, but pursuing a new opportunity, you know, that's a lot better than, I don't like my old place.
No, for sure.
He also just, padded the resume with the biggest release, I think.
That's, I think, a good stepping stone, right? Lynn said it was, quote, terrifically difficult decision, quote, to leave 343. Quote, Halo Infinite will remain one of the proudest achievements of my career for the rest of my life, end quote, Lynn said. Quote, I'm so grateful to have been a part of it, end quote. Lynn went on to say, quote, I want to thank my dear colleagues at 343 for making the best game I've ever worked on. Our incredible voice cast for elevating our work in every single line delivery. And our players for joining us on the wild-ass journey. You made 2021 an incredibly special year for me. I get skiddily talking about real on the stupid website, Twitter, so I'll leave it for now. But I can't underscore enough how grateful I am and always will be. See you next mission, end quote, he said.
Oh, that last bit of that quote, it reminds me of the good old Halo line.
Well, that's
the
why
missions always change. They always do.
Yeah, it's congratulations. It is one of those things, right, where you see people move on, and if you take a look at his record, where he's been and where he's come from, wow, like Lynn's been around. So he was working on Halo. He worked at Gearbox. He's done all kinds of projects. He's worked at Bungie as well. So he's been around throughout the industry and he's just developed and built his resume. And now you launch Halo, which is definitely one of the biggest games of, I'm going to say last year, but even though it's still rolling into this year, right? Just because it came on the tail end of 2021. But it's still one of the biggest games around, Scott.
Oh, yeah. And I hope he brings something of value to Riot, because in my opinion, Riot lacks on certain narrative parts.
Sure.
I know I could meet a lot of argument with that, but it's something that they're expanding on with the new show and stuff. So I really hope that, this talent is lent to a really good narrative.
Hopefully so. I believe it will be. If he's done all this work and stuff, man, he's an incredible writer. So I got faith in where Aaron's going to head to next with Riot. We'll see what he gets for us. But Scott, that's going to wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at Inside the Game Official, just like Lee did. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see everybody tomorrow inside the game.